All right. So let me tell you a joke. Now, this is a joke about nuns. If you don't like nuns, um, you know, this is a joke for you. If you do like nuns, well, then you can fuck right off, I guess. So anyway, this nun, it's a young and pretty nun. She's like, I don't know, 25-ish, and, skinny, big, everything. And she's on the bus because, nuns, they don't have a lot of money. It's only the priests that do the embezzling and all that. The nuns, they don't have any money. So she's taking public transport, and one day there's a hippie on the bus. And it's a really dirty, filthy hippie. One of those guys where if you see a picture of them, the picture smells, that kind of guy with the long hair and the clothing that looks like, he lives under a bridge somewhere, smells of weed, all of that. And the hippie stares at her. And the bus makes a stop. People get on, people get off, and the hippie just keeps staring at her. Soon there's only the hippie and the nun left on the bus. The ride goes on and on. And so the hippie slides up right next to her and says, "Hey, how you doing, good looking? Have sex with me." And the nun says, "No, I can't do that. I'm already married to Jesus. Would you like to hear about Jesus?" And the hippie says, "Fuck no. Hell no. What I want with Jesus, I got weed." So, the nun excuses herself, gets off at the next stop. I mean, leaves the bus at the next stop. Sorry, phrasing, right? The bus goes on, and the hippie just kind of sits there, and he's in a bad mood, rejected by a nun. I mean, nuns never get any. That's why they're called nuns, because they don't get none. And even a nun rejected him. So after a while, the bus driver just stops the bus, turns around and says, "Look, I can maybe help you. You see, she didn't just get off at that stop because she doesn't like you. She gets off at that stop because that's where her grandparents are buried. That's a cemetery. And she goes there every Tuesday afternoon. Now, you look kind of like Jesus. I mean, you smell worse, but you kind of look like Jesus with the long hair and the shabby clothes and all of that. So why don't you just doll yourself up a little bit, put some sprinkly shit in your hair and then just wait there for her at the cemetery, and then just tell her you're Jesus and see how that works, right?" And the hippie, being slightly high and, being a hippie, goes, "Oh, yeah, I'll do that." So a week later, the hippie gets to the cemetery early. And he's wearing a long white dress that he bought at a secondhand shop. And he put some dollar store sprinkly shit in his hair and in his weird beard and all of that, And he kneels down behind a large tombstone and waits and waits and waits. And the hour is getting later and later. And finally, dusk. It's getting a bit dark, and he wants to leave because, yeah, he's a hippie and he's high, but he's also kind of freaked out because it's a cemetery. And finally, all of a sudden, the nun appears, and she's got a little basket, and it's got some flowers, and she kneels down in front of her grandparents' grave and starts whispering quietly some sort of prayer. And the hippie thinks, well, it's now or never, and he jumps up and he goes, "Hey, it's me, Jesus, your Lord and Savior. Have sex with me." And the nun is kind of stunned and doesn't know what to say. It just goes, "Okay, Lord, but I'm a virgin, so you have to put it in my ass." And the hippie goes, "Yeah, that's not a problem." And he says, just stay right where you are, because she's kneeling down in front of the grave, right? So he gets in behind her and, well, basically really gets into it and lets her have it. And, really exerts himself and, well, basically fucks her like there's no tomorrow. And after about, 3 minutes of this, he finishes with a scream and jumps up and points at the nun and says, "Ha! I'm not really Jesus. I'm the hippie." And the nun, understandably a bit out of breath and still on her knees, turns around and says, "Yes, I know. And I'm the bus driver."